Hi, it's Sandra from Oasis Travel. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to tonight's webinar. So if you're a real keen traveller and have a passion for adventure and seeing the world, then G Adventures is the company for you. So they have over 30 years experience in organising small groups so that you can travel with like-minded travellers. So I'd like to now hand over to Kerry Ann and thank you for joining us.
So good day everyone, I am Kerry Ann from G Adventures and I'm here today just to tell you a little bit about who G Adventures are, what we do and what types of amazing holidays and experiences you can have by going on a G Adventures trip. Working alongside Oasis Travel, so you can speak to Oasis Travel to book any of these fabulous trips and adventures. So firstly, let me tell you a little bit about our story. G Adventures have been operating for 30 years. We operate small group trips around the world. So they are global trips. We go to all 7 continents. And we started 30 years ago with our founder, Bruce Puntip. Now, Bruce started the company from his back bedroom with 2 credit cards, and now we've got over 400 different itineraries, hundreds, thousands of departures that we operate across all 7 continents. So there really is something for everyone with G Adventures. So what's different with G Adventures? So let me tell you a little bit about what a traditional trip with G Adventures would be like. So as I said earlier, we specialise in small groups. So across the majority of our travel styles, it's average 12 people, maximum 16 people. And that gives you that much more personalised, smaller group. So if you can imagine if you were going for dinner with a group of friends, it's kind of that level. You get to know everyone on your group and you also get to know your local guide. So it does make it much more personalised to everyone that's on the trip. We also like to talk about the freedom and independence. So we operate small group trips. It is a tour, but not all tours are really structured and really scheduled and really busy. So I think that's something that not everyone realises. So with G Adventures, we tend to include accommodation, transportation, key activities. We'll go and see key highlights, but we'll also have days of leisure. Now, what's really nice about that is you could be on a small group of 8 travellers. You could be going to, say, Peru with G Adventures. And on those days of leisure that you've got throughout your itinerary, you could do something completely different to the group. So you're not always with the group for the full duration of the trip. You might go off and do your own thing that day. You might be the type of person that wants to schedule in lots of additional activities, so you can, or you might actually just like to enjoy the local town, the local destination, and do your own thing when you get there on your days of leisure. The other part of the freedom and independence model is that we don't include all meals. So we will include a selection of meals, tends to be breakfast, some lunches and dinners, and then you can decide what you want to do. We always give the opportunity for everyone to dine as a group in the evening, but if you decide, you know, one evening you want to go off and do your own thing, then that's absolutely fine as well. So it's about getting the balance, it's about seeing key highlights, experiencing the destination. We also really make sure that you get to experience the cultural, authentic side of the destination. So we really want you to meet the local people, we want you to experience local restaurants, we want you to try the local food, the local wines and beers. We want you to meet the people and see where they work and where the kids go to school, and really immerse yourself within that local culture. And you can absolutely do that on any G Adventures trip. As I said, we tend to use local accommodations, so we offer anything from our upgraded accommodation, which tends to be around the 4-star level, to basic accommodation, which could be hotels, it could be hostels, it could be camping. The basic level tends to be for our youth market. We have classic trips, which is around the standard level, which is around the 3-star. And then we have our upgraded, which tends to be our National Geographic journeys, which is around the 4-star level. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about those trip styles in a little bit more detail. So local accommodation we tend to use. What's really nice about the local accommodation is they're smaller properties, they're more boutique properties, so you've not got as many people staying in these big properties. We also use diverse transport options. So again, depending on the country and the destination that you're in, and depending on the travel style that you're on. If you were on one of our upgraded trips, we'd probably utilise private transportation a lot more. So it'd be your own private vehicle for the duration of the trip. If you're maybe on one of our standard trips, which falls into a classic travel style, we might use a combination of private transportation and local transportation. So you might have a private vehicle one day, the next day we might take a local train journey, you might even get to go on a local tuk-tuk or, you know, a local river cruise or long tail boat. So it really just depends on the destination that you're in. And then food, this is one of the most important parts about traveling. When we travel, we all love, well, most of us do, to experience the local food. It's definitely a highlight for me. So one of the things that we do in our trips is we ensure that we get you to the amazing local restaurants on your doorstep where you can actually taste all of this amazing cuisine. And what's really fantastic is that we know the best local restaurants to go. So we won't always just take you to the touristy trail, the places that you read about. Will take you to the more local side of the destination where the locals dine, where you can have the best food at great prices. And then last but not least, so, you know, we include obviously accommodation, transportation, key activities, free time and leisure time. We include some meals along the way as well. But one of the most important people on the trip that really makes it amazing are our CEOs. So our CEOs are our Chief Experience Officers. So it's not the Chief Executive Officer of the company, but it's the local guide that meets with you on day one and who's with you for the duration of the trip. Now, the local guides are the connectors of the group. They connect you with the other travellers, they connect you with the destination, they connect you with the more local side of the destination. And the most amazing thing about travelling with these guys is that they're super passionate, they're super knowledgeable, they're from that destination, so they know it inside out. They don't just take you to the touristy areas, they will get you off the beaten path, they will make sure that you see the local side of the destination, they will know the best restaurants to go to, the best place to get, you know, a great drink. They'll also know where the safe places are, they speak the local languages, and it just makes it really easy for you to still go on an amazing trip, might be a bit further afield, but have that person who organises everything and just takes the stress out of travelling, who's got all this knowledge and passion about the destination. So we've also got, as I've said before, a number of travel styles with G Adventures. So depending on the travel style, depends on types of accommodation and transport and things that are included. So I won't go into them all, but I'll just name some of them here and tell you a little bit about them. So we've got an exclusive partnership with National Geographic Journeys. Now that's our upgraded product level, so you'll be staying in upgraded accommodation, traditionally private transportation throughout, but it also includes exclusive access to exclusive activities as well that you wouldn't get in any of our other trips. These trips are all about exploration and getting that insider access that you can't get anywhere else. And then we've also got a family version. So if you're looking to travel with your family, as long as they're 7+, you could go on a National Geographic Journeys family trip, and you could be with maybe 2 or 3 other families within those trips. We've got our classic tours. Our classic tours are the standard range, which is around that 3-star mark. And again, they've got key highlights, cultural exchange, key activities, local time to explore the local destination, as well as free time along the way. For those that think G Adventures is all about hiking, biking, trekking, jumping out of aeroplanes, it's actually not. We have an active range, so if you do want to go hiking and biking, or you want to climb the Inca Trail or go to Everest or cycle around Japan, we can offer those trips to you, but everything else is all about that cultural and kind of experience in the local destination. We've got our youth market, which is 18 to 39. So it's youths travelling with like-minded other youths around the world. We've got wellness tours, so those that want to take it a little bit slower, that might want to do a bit of yoga or meditation, or just enjoy some healthy food experiences along the way. Marine is everything that floats. I will talk to you a little bit more in detail about that in a second. We've also got our own family tours, and then we've got some local living tours. So, you know, local living in Italy is a great example, where you go and stay in an agriturismo and a local Italian family host you, and you get the best food and the best wine, and you get to experience the local sites and the local community around you. So that's just some of the travel styles that we offer at G Adventures. And then I'm just going to show you a quick video of our National Geographic Journeys product. So I hope you enjoyed that, and that's given you some inspiration to get out travelling again. Just to give you an example of what a National Geographic Journeys trip might look like, this is one down in Peru that we have. It's 14 days, it starts in Lima, it finishes in Lima. You fly over to the Amazon rainforest, where you get a couple of nights down into the rainforest, exploring the wildlife and learning about the wildlife down there. You then fly over to Cusco, where you get to spend some time in the traditional little town of Cusco before making your way to Machu Picchu. On this trip, there's 3 options when you go to Machu Picchu. You can do the all-famous Inca Trail, which is hiking for 4 days, or you could do a shorter version of it, which is the Lares Trek, which is hiking for 3 days. Or if you decide that the hiking's not for you, you can actually spend more time in Cusco, and we can take you via train to Machu Picchu. So that's one of the ways that's 3 of the ways, that you can actually experience Machu Picchu with G Adventures. Then after seeing Machu Picchu, we'll take you over to Lake Titicaca, you go down to the town of Puno, and then we'll fly you back to Lima. So there are some amazing experiences, and it's a great all-rounder of Peru within this trip. Then I'd mentioned we have our National Geographic family journeys. So these are absolutely fantastic for those people that want to get out and explore the world, but take their kids with them. So you do need to be 7+ to travel on a National Geographic journey. The itineraries are crafted to make sure that there's lots of experiences for the families to actually enjoy together. So if we're doing a cooking class, you know, that'll be a kid-friendly cooking class that they can get involved in as well. There'll be interactive activities inspired by National Geographic's expertise in wildlife, storytelling, culture and history. And we'll also include 2 CEOs on this trip. Now, within the National Geographic range of trips that we offer, the group sizes are slightly larger, they're maximum 20, just because you might have a family of 4, you might have a family of 2, you might have a family of 6. So it means that you can still have, you know, 3 or 4 families come together on a small group trip and enjoy this experience. But you would have 2 CEOs who are specifically trained to engage with young travellers as well as the adults within the trip as well. It's all comfortable and convenient accommodations, so the accommodations are upgraded level. We do offer kid-friendly meals throughout these trips, so we do understand that, you know, some of the destinations we take you to like Japan or Thailand, or some of the pictures here is down in Costa Rica. You know, the kids might not want to try some of the local foods, or they might be a little bit fussy, so we do offer kid-friendly options throughout. And as I said, you're traveling with like-minded families who are looking to explore. I actually couldn't think of a better way to take kids around the world. I would have loved to have done something like this when I was a kid. So just some of the other travel styles that we touched on was marine. So marine at G Adventures is everything that floats. So if you're ever thinking about maybe going to the Galapagos, we have 5 small ships that are 16 passengers maximum that take you around the Galapagos Islands. We offer itineraries from 7 days right up to 30 days. So depending on how long you want to go for, how many islands you want to explore. And these trips are really fantastic. It's a great way to see the much more local side of the destination, because when you travel on a small boat with G Adventures, we actually get into some of the places that the bigger cruise lines can't get into, especially in the Galapagos, because there's a lot of laws that you can only get into certain areas depending on the passenger numbers. So to have 16 passengers maximum going into these areas, what an amazing experience. And there's our brand new vessel that we have down in the Galapagos. It's called the Reina Silvia Voyager. It's an upgraded vessel. Majority of the cabins have their own balconies. We even got a jacuzzi on the top deck there. So it really is a fantastic option for those that are looking for that extra comfort, but want to go on a small vessel to explore that destination without having the crowds around them. We also do river adventures. So this is a river cruise down on the Mekong. We've got the Burgundy. So this is actually a barge down in France. And this barge is a fantastic little barge that really takes its time going down the Burgundy River, exploring the destination, stopping for cycling trips, enjoying some wine tasting along the way. And it includes breakfast or lunch or breakfast or dinner daily, and also includes drinks within the package as well. So this is a great little trip if you're looking to go somewhere in Europe. We offer sailing adventures. So sailing adventures, we do these all over the world. So we have Thailand, we have the Maldives, we go to Croatia, Greece. The list really goes on and on. And on the sailing adventures, you're talking about maximum 8 people. So not only can you go in a really small group, but you might actually decide that you want to do a private departure and you want to, go with 7 of your friends or 7 of your family. And then last but not least, within our marine collection, we have our expedition ship. So this goes to the Antarctica, to the Arctic, and to the Norway. It's really small in comparison to some of the cruise liners that go to these destinations. It's 132 passengers maximum. It's 1 expedition leader to 10 passengers. All your meals are included within this trips, all your excursions are included within those trips. There's a couple of extra excursions you can add on if you wanted to say camp or go kayaking, but everything else is included. And the knowledge that the staff have that are on board, the expedition leaders, is absolutely incredible. So if this is something that's on your bucket list, then definitely speak to Oasis Travel, because this is something that we can get organised for you. And at this moment in time, I believe we have just released 22 and 23 departure dates, so 2022 and 2023, because we were selling out of 2021 rather quickly. So we have launched 2022 and 2023 departure dates. So at G Adventures, not only do we have all of those amazing travel styles and do we want to offer you a cultural, authentic, amazing holiday or adventure, but it's also really important to us that we try and travel responsibly as much as we can. So there's a number of things that we do. So we support community tourism. We have something called the Ripple Score, which I'll tell you a little bit more about. We have Planeterra, which is our non-profit organisation, which I'll tell you a little bit more about. We have a plastics partnership project, and we also have a number of welfare policies in play, which supports children, animals, and Indigenous communities. So the Ripple score. So if you're ever looking at any of our trips or looking at any of our brochures, you'll see that the majority of trips have this kind of mint green box with the purple little box at the end, and it says Ripple score. And in that box will be a number from 0 to 100. Now, what that means is it's a percentage, and it's saying, for example, if the trip is 100% of the money that you pay for that trip stays within that local destination. It supports local people. So let's say, for example, you're doing one of our classic trips. It's the 8-day Golden Triangle, which is around £550. And let's say the Ripple score on that is 95. That's telling you that 95% of that £550 that you pay for stays in India, and it supports local people, local destinations. Now, the way and how we have worked that out is a little bit complicated, but in 2016, we worked with a number of organisations, including Responsible Travel, to work out where we had to work with all of our suppliers. So all the hoteliers that we worked with, all the transport companies that we worked with, all the activity providers that we worked with, everywhere where we went for a meal that we included within the trip. And then we worked out, are these actual local people that own them? You know, are the hoteliers from India? Are the activity providers from India? And then we worked out a percentage score of how much of that money stays within that local economy. Or if they were from the UK or Germany or the US, then that would bring the Ripple score down. So the Ripple score isn't about how amazing the trip is, it's about how much money you're putting back in to that destination that you're traveling to. And we believe that is so important right now, that you know where you're spending your money. And if you want to go to India, that money is benefiting those local people in that destination. So that's what the Ripple score is all about. Then we've got Planeterra. So Planeterra was established in 2003, and it's our non-profit organisation. So around the world, we have projects, and at the moment there's probably about 80 projects around the world, and we incorporate those projects into our itineraries. So you, when you're traveling with us, when you book an itinerary, you might have a Planeterra project included within the cost of your itinerary. And what that means is you will get to go and experience that project firsthand on your trip, and you will get a real cultural, authentic experience, and you will meet the local people that are working at that project. Now, what it means for the local people is that we're supporting, you know, local communities, we're supporting local women, we're supporting local youths in these rural and Indigenous communities, and giving them opportunities for them to create work for themselves. So just to give you a little example, if you go to Vietnam with us, we have a project called Oodles of Noodles, and that is a restaurant where we work with local youths from a local village in Hoi An who work in the restaurant, and they provide a cooking class for all of our travellers that come through Hoi An. So you get to learn how to make Vietnamese noodles from scratch, and you literally get to get involved and take part in that cooking class. So our customers absolutely love it. I'm sure if you've been on a G Adventures trip, you could probably tell me about one or two projects that you've experienced. But not only that, our customers love it because they get a great experience, but they also love it because they see how being there and how they're supporting these local people and individuals. So it really is a fantastic foundation. And with 80 projects around the world, we support a lot of local people. And then just a couple of things that we have introduced over the past couple of months. So we know that we're in a bit of a different time at this moment in time where travel isn't as accessible, where we can't go to, you know, not every destination that we would maybe have liked to have gone to at this moment in time. But what we're finding is that a lot of our customers might not be able to travel right now, but they're looking at planning their trip or their next adventure. So whether that's later in the year, whether that's in 2021 or 2022, we actually have availability and trips already scheduled right up until the end of 2022. So when you book that with Oasis Travel, we include this book with confidence message. So what that allows you to do, if you're traveling with us this year and say you book to go on the 10th of November on a departure with us, you decide then that it's getting closer to that departure date and you want to change the date, you don't feel comfortable, you can let us know 14 days before you depart, and then you can tell us about actually the new departure date you want to go on. And you can pick any departure date 2 years from the original departure date. So if you've picked the 10th of November to go this year, and then 2 weeks before you decide, actually, I want to change that, you can then change up until the 10th of November 2022. So it's just giving you that flexibility to make those choices yourself if you feel uncomfortable about going on the original date that you had booked. And then if you're travelling in 2021, it's exactly the same, only you have 30 days before your departure date to change that date as well. So hopefully that will, boost your confidence to actually get something booked, have something to look forward to, because I cannot wait to get away next year. I don't know if I'm going to manage it this year, but definitely next year. The other thing that we've introduced is our travel with confidence policy. I'm not going to get into this in too much detail, but we just want you to know at GE Adventures, we have been working extremely hard to ensure that we are working with all of the destinations that we go to and all of the local organisations to ensure that we are following the right health and safety measures around the world. Our clients, our customers, our employees, and the partners that we work with, your health and safety has always been a top priority. But with the era that we're in at the moment, we do need to make sure that we're taking those extra measures, whether that's around additional cleaning measures or new physical distancing measures, and we're taking that into account. So if that's something that worries you, going forward, please go and speak to Oasis Travel and they can share with you our travel with confidence policy, and you can see everything that we're doing to ensure that you can still go on a fantastic holiday, a fantastic trip. We do have these additional measures in play to ensure your health and safety. And then last but not least, the Travel with Confidence Plus collection. So this is a fantastic collection of trips. I think there's probably about maybe 37 to 40 trips within this collection, globally around the world. And this is a collection of trips that we have created and tweaked to give you, our customers, that extra boost of confidence. So if you're still unsure about travelling going forward into the future, then hopefully some of these additional measures that we've put in place within this collection will help boost your confidence to get something booked for the future. So this collection of trips includes smaller departures, so smaller than the average 12, maximum 16. It includes all private transportation except for any internal flights. We can't get you private planes, unfortunately. It also gives you the option to have your own room if you're a solo traveller, and it gives you more personal space. So when we say smaller, on this collection of trips, you're looking at average 8 to 10 people, maximum 12 across all of these trips. So there's fewer people at your dining table, there's fewer people on your vehicle, but there's still that opportunity to get to know each other. And again, with these trips, you could actually make it into a private group trip for you and your friends or you and your family as well. Private rides, so as I said, it's all private transportation except for any internal flights. We assign daily seating, and we also make sure that the vehicle is deep cleaned daily as well. And then for those solo travellers, if you have traditionally travelled with GE Adventures, you may have always opted to share with another male or female so that you don't have to pay any room supplements. But what you can do now is, if you would prefer not to share and you would prefer your own room throughout the trip, you can actually book your own room, and we've managed to get the own room single supplement at a 50% off reduced rate than what we had before the kind of COVID era. So hopefully that's a lot more affordable for our solo travellers still to go on a fantastic trip, pay a little bit extra to get their own room throughout. And of course, on all of these trips, we ensure that the double, twin or solo rooms that you guys are using are private ensuite bathrooms throughout all of the night's stay within each of the trips. So just to give you a little bit of inspiration, should I say, into what some of these trips look like. We have Thai sailing. So this is a sailing trip in Thailand, starts in Phuket, finishes in Phuket, goes to some of the kind of more known islands and some of the more islands that are a little bit more secluded. So it is an island hopping trip. You stay on the sailing boat. It's all ensuite cabins with air conditioning, 7 days, 6 nights, maximum 10 people on board. And I would probably quite like to do that with a group of my friends as well. We've got the Best of Iceland Plus within this collection. So if you're looking to go somewhere a little bit closer to home, we are operating this trip within the Travel with Confidence collection. Again, private transportation, smaller groups, so maximum 12 on this. And taking in some of the key sites like the city of Reykjavik, the Golden Circle. Hopefully you get to see the Northern Lights when you're out there, seeing lots of waterfalls, glaciers, snow-capped mountains. And if you're feeling a little bit adventurous, you might even do a hike. I was lucky enough to squeeze in a trip to Iceland just in February, and that was definitely one of my highlights. So look, I'm not going to go through all of it with you, but speak to Oasis Travel. They can talk to you about this collection. We've got lots of trips in Asia, some in North America and the Middle East, lots of sailing trips around the world. We've got European trips, Central America, trips down in Australia and New Zealand, and trips in South America within this collection. And then last but not least, which everyone wants to hear about, is how can you save a bit of money right now? So we have a 15% off sale. That is on until the end of October, so the 31st of October. So if you speak to Oasis Travel, they'll be able to let you know which trips are included and get you something booked for the future. It does include departures up until October 2021. So even if you're not planning on traveling this year and you're looking at traveling next year, you can still save 15% off your trip by getting it booked before the end of October. So that was a lot to take in. I hope I've given you some inspiration. I hope you understand a little bit more about G Adventures and what type of holiday and experience you would be getting. And just a bit of a recap, we have a Book with Confidence policy. We have a Travel with Confidence policy. We have this fantastic collection of Travel with Confidence Plus trips globally around the world that you can choose from. And we have that fantastic 15% off. So I hope this is giving you a little bit of inspiration to get planning, and you get the opportunity to speak with Oasis Travel to plan your next holiday. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed that, and any questions, do let Oasis Travel know and we can come back to you. Thank you. Bye.